Well, hello. My name is Divine Yamulamba. I am 26 years old. Well, I'll be 27 in a month, but I am a 26-year-old Congolese young woman who was born in Kinshasa but raised in Gauteng, South Africa. And if I were to talk about my journey, I would just briefly say that whew, I am a champion for development. I am a student, a PhD student. I am an author, a poet. I am also, most importantly, a teacher, or if I should say, a lecturer. So I teach French. I During my part time, I also run my own business, which is a publishing company. So, to recall my early life and influences, I would say that leadership was always something that was close to my heart, especially in primary school. And I didn't even speak English properly, but I remember that one of the characteristics that my teachers would always identify is that I wasn't afraid to lead a group. I wasn't afraid to talk. I wasn't afraid to share activities, to lead a game. Even if the language was a barrier, I continued to strive for communication with my peers. So I'm really grateful for that. Another milestone that I'll recall is also in high school, where I became prefect and I was able to lead our class. I think it was the class of 2015. I cannot even begin to imagine how long ago that was. But being a prefect has also taught me how to manage my relationships with my peers and also, obviously, the teachers. And it also challenged me to see things from other people's points of view and not just my own. So that was it. And also being vice head girl. Some of the challenges and triumphs that I could identify, well, the first was the language barrier because my leadership journey started when I was very young. So, because everybody spoke English and I didn't, obviously that was quite challenging to cope with. So that is why growing up, I made it my goal to really, really master the language and also to teach others French so that they were able to communicate with me. So that's why I'm also very passionate about teaching the French language. Other challenges include self confidence, just believing in myself more, and not having to doubt myself, regardless of how other people felt about my leadership style. Because I was more of a softie, if you could describe it that way. I didn't shout at anyone. I would communicate the announcement or the instruction and move on. So some people didn't really like that leadership style. They preferred the firm and the aggressive. But I've learned how to be assertive even with my soft nature through those challenges. Ooh, mentorship. Um, if I were to talk about mentors that have been really helping me from the get go, I would start at home, this being my parents. For instance, my father and my mother have always been the academia people. So, my mother was very young when she was proposed to actually marry a man that was much older than her, but she chose to run away, from the constraints of her village to go and seek education in the city with the help of her uncle. So even though she was betrothed to a child marriage, she chose the opposite. She chose an education. And also, my father, coming from a very poor background, he fought his way into school. So I can say that my parents have really inspired me in my early years to really see leadership as taking your life into your own hands, first of all, like before leading a group of people, being the one that makes decisions, positive decisions that affect your own life, and not allowing, um, you know, very constrained customs or harmful traditions to be the one that leads you. And if I were to take an approach to mentorship, I would definitely take the interactive approach and also the approach of learning from one's experiences. Leadership blueprint, based on my own encounters and experiences, it will also go back to um, being a prefect and being a head girl in a girls' school, right? Because we were only young women there. And for me, it really marks a blueprint in my life because I have never ever imagined myself to be in the lead of an entire group of women. Like having to manage different personalities, that was very, very difficult for me at first. But again, I went through it and eventually I got a hold of it. I envision to I envision to pass on to this generation of women um, the passion for language. Yeah, the passion for language and communication. Not just the communication of talking, but also the communication of behaving, like how you allow your conduct to teach others how to be kind, to teach others how to stand up for themselves, to teach others um, like how to deal with one another. So I would like to leave a legacy of women who are able to communicate how they feel, who are not afraid to communicate how they feel, and who can do it with both words and with their bodies. And another legacy that I would like to leave behind is just a generation of women who are not afraid by of the circumstances of their lives, who are not afraid to be different, to come out of the norm. I think how I would incorporate intergenerational co leadership is by perhaps organizing sessions where the older generation of women can teach the younger generation what it would mean to be, or what it meant to be a confident woman in their time, and the same vice versa. The younger generation sharing what it means to be a young, confident woman in their time. And then, based on that exchange, seeing what has changed over time, seeing what needs to be improved. So, for me, how I would like for it to go is just an interaction between women that is not so formal. Yes, have sessions, but maybe we could sit down, without any chairs, with our legs crossed, like kids who are listening to their parents. So that's how I envision it. And also, I would incorporate intergenerational co-leadership um, in the workplace as well. I think that that's also necessary for the older generation to get the younger generation used to what they have already overcome in the past. So that is it from me. I would just say that I am super privileged to have had this opportunity to share my thoughts with you all. Thank you.